Okay, good morning.
Good morning.
This morning, I'm going to talk about sutra copying, which is an activity that we've started doing here at Ocean Gate. And so I want to talk a little more about that. So, we've added sutra copying. We're going to continue to do that. In Japanese, it's called Shakyo practice. And it's actually an important practice in Japanese Buddhism. It's an important practice in Mahayana Buddhism in general. But first of all, I want to say that, I really want to encourage people to engage in this practice. And also in particular, because some people have problems sitting zazen for extended periods of time. And copying sutras is not actually different from zazen if it's done with the zazen mind. So it has a lot of the same attributes of sitting zazen, being present, concentrating, paying attention to what you're doing. So it's a practice that requires us to be totally present with the activity that we're engaged in, ideally unself-consciously. So in that way, among some other ways, it's like zazen. So another way to talk about this is to say that copying the sutra, we allow the copying to come through us, to become us. And we're fully presencing for the Dharma. In our case, we're copying the Heart Sutra. So we're fully present for the Dharma of the Heart Sutra without engaging our intellect, okay? Without an intellectual engagement in that way. So Iwasaki Sunyo, he's a 20th century Japanese artist and sutra painter, calligraphy, and also his main job was as a scientist. But his art is all about the Heart Sutra. So I'll give you an example. This book here, Paula Rai wrote, and it's about Iwasaki's paintings. And this one, which you can barely see here, this painting is in our lobby out there. It's in the entryway to the Zendo, a copy of this. So you can take a look at it, but it shows a monk in a little reed boat pointing at the moon. And this, this is the Heart Sutra coming down from the moon to the monk right here. So that's the kind of stuff that he did. And this is just a simple one. I mean, there's really some amazing paintings that he did. Like, for example, the back cover, which is the cosmos. And this particular painting, I saw it in Paula's living room, is huge. I mean, like, I don't know, 10 feet across and, 4 or 5 feet high. So it's really, really amazing. So, and here's a very simple sutra copying that he did, which is in the front of this book, which looks like this. And you can see that he did little Buddhas for every one of the characters of this. Now, Iwasaki-san said about his paintings and about his calligraphy, he said, my purpose for tiny character, because he does really tiny characters of the Heart Sutra, he said, my purpose for tiny character copying of the Heart Sutra, these paintings, is for you to see the teachings of the Buddha. To see the Buddha. So it's not just seeing the teaching, it's to see the Buddha. I am deeply grateful to dwell in the heart of the sutra. So this is a heart practice that's happening here. Also, contemporary people who have lost themselves in busyness and whose hearts are desolate, I pray they feel some succor and compassion when they look at the paintings. So that's what he said about the work that he's doing, and I'll return to that at the end. And then Master Sheng Yen, he's a Taiwanese founder of Dharma Drum, which is a really large Zen organization. and he's a lineage holder in Sutra, in Soto Zen. He said of sutra copying, seeing the sutra is like seeing the Dharma. Seeing the Dharma is like seeing the Buddha. Seeing the sutra is like seeing the Dharma, and seeing the Dharma is like seeing the Buddha. So this is a very important practice, and it has a long history in Mahayana Buddhism. So many Mahayana sutras, which came around the turn of the first millennium, like, between the BC and the Common Era. And many of the sutras say in the sutra itself, they say, if one receives, preserves, reads, copies, or chants, even one word or one verse, the whole wisdom of the sutra will reveal itself to the practitioner. Even the Heart Sutra, which started out as the Prajnaparamita Sutra, started out very large sutras. And then the Heart Sutra is a smaller version of it. And then it got right down to the letter A, right? The Sanskrit Siddham letter. And then, and then they got bigger again. But this way in which this idea of you can express the totality of a sutra's teaching in one letter, one thought, one presencing of oneself. In the Lotus Sutra, just to say the name of the Lotus Sutra, to chant the name of the Lotus Sutra, is to be able to enter into the Lotus Sutra. So this practicing of copying of sutras, on some ways it's practical level back in the day before they had printing presses, but as a practice, it's a very, very deep practice. And it has these ancient roots in our lineage, in this lineage of Buddhism. So we should not neglect this practice. In American Zen, we have a real propensity towards stressing only, Zazen only. But there are all these other things, these practices. And we, in our Zen center, in Soto Zen in general, we have work practice, and we have certain ways that we talk and think about that. We have doing service, so we have ritual, and there are certain ways that we engage in that practice. And we have practice of sitting, and there's a fourth, work. I think I mentioned that already. So we have these practices that are about how we express our group activity of this continuous practice of the world functioning. This practicing of sutra copying is also like that. So if you're having problems with sitting Zazen, this is a very good practice to engage in, but I also encourage us to just do it generally. And I also encourage you to come to Ocean Gate to do this practice, because we are an unrelentingly grouply oriented practice. And come with and practice and do the copying with the Sangha. And the next time we're going to do this is on Saturday, March 29th, after Come As You Are. So, and we provide the pens and the things to copy and the paper and all of that stuff. So you just need to bring yourself and your big Buddha mind and heart to this practice. So there's an expression that's popular in Japan that was originally said by Saicho, who was a 9th century founder of Tendai Buddhism. And what he said was, illuminate one corner. In Japanese, this says, ichigu wo tarasu. So what this means is that if you engage in one practice, one thing, one activity with your full intention, with a sincere heart, that action is going to reverberate throughout the whole world. So this action of copying the sutras is going to reverberate. This is very much like when the Mahayana Sutras say to receive, preserve, read, copy, or chant just one word or one verse of the sutra. Just the title of the sutra is going to reveal the whole of the teachings. So if we illuminate one corner of the Dharma, doing such a practice like Zazen, doing work practice, and doing Sangha practice, and doing ceremony with this open and sincere heart, sutra copying, then we're engaging in a skillful response. We are turning the Dharma wheel in this activity. We're shining a light into one corner of the world. So you may be skeptical about this intellectually, but this is not a practice of the intellect. So you can leave your intellect at the door and bring your devotional mind to just doing this practice and have faith that it is reverberating out through the world. So, there are ways that we can talk about this practice as being very beneficial. As Westerners, I like this because I think when I was doing my research for this, I found one, I think it was on the Dharma Drum site. It's like bullet points, it'll do this for you and do this for you and do this for you and do this for you. And we like that as Westerners. We like it will do this for you. We want to feel like our practice is going to do something for us. We have a hard time with this idea of just do it, period, right? No explanation, just do it. But here are some of the benefits if you do this practice. We sit, concentrate on each letter. That helps us focus. It helps us learn patience. We put our whole hearted effort into this, and like Zazen, that is the activity of Zazen, right? To keep putting your wholehearted effort into this activity of sitting. And therefore, the sutra will unfold through us. And then we relax and we forget about the self, and we actually engage in the present moment, whatever's arising at that moment. And in this case, we're sutra copying. So what's arising is paying attention to this and creating this kind of concentration, if you will, of focus. Equanimity, it helps us create equanimity. So this way we allow the sutra to bring its pure Dharma to us. And I must admit in this talk, I'm not so interested in telling you all the benefits, not all the tangible things that you're supposed to get out of this, because I want to appeal to your practice sense, your heart, not to your intellect of what am I going to get out of this if I come to Ocean Gate and copy a sutra. So in this way of allowing the Dharma to enter into us through this practice, we as Buddhas, as one Buddha after another, engage with our intimate life as Buddha through our hands, through our eyes, through our posture, and through our heart by engaging in this copying. So Paula Ryan, her book, Painting Enlightenment, she speaks about the meditation of Shakyo, or sutra copying. And she talks about the Japanese word for meditation, which I'm assuming is a transliteration of the Chinese, meso. And so meso means meditation. And then what she does is she pulls apart the characters and talks about each part of the character. And then she says me means I, light, and six. So I'll tell you what the six is about in a minute. So I, light, and six. And then so has the interior glyphs for tree, which refers to stability, eye and heart, which is Shin, the character for Shin. So eye and heart are mind and heart. So her translation of this character is to steadily illuminate your six senses to see through your heart mind. To steadily illuminate your six senses to see through your heart mind. So to see through the heart mind, not, as the vehicle of it, as opposed to go beyond that. And so she says, this is Zazen. This is this meditative activity of the body and mind, the Zazen of copying sutras. And it is also, the light aspect also has to do with what Dogen calls komyo, the radiant light of the 24 hours of your day. which he talks about in Uji. So this radiant light is expressed through the six senses. That's the six, which are the eye and object seen, ear and sound, nose and smell, tongue and taste, body and touch, mind and consciousness. And that activity, as we do sutra copying, just becomes one with Shin, heart, mind. This is the heart mind of our Buddha, of Buddhas. It is the Buddhas, as Dogen says in Genjo Koan, it is Buddhas who go on actualizing Buddhas, even though that they do not know that they are Buddhas, which I would say applies to us. So hopefully through what I've said so far, you might understand that Shakyo or sutra copying is a powerful practice. It's a powerful practice that we can do. It has these practical aspects of cultivating concentration and patience, but it also is a transmitter of merit. So we have this idea, and we talk about during service, we say the most important part of service is the echo. Having chanted the Makahanya Haramitsu Shingyo, I offer the merit of this chanting to all beings throughout space and time, for example, might be an echo. So we give it away. We're not keeping it for ourselves. We're coming through us and giving it away. So, because this transmission of the merit, because you're copying the Dharma, and we copy this teaching with mind of Buddha. We copy it with energy, gratitude, non-grasping at some kind of thing that we're doing to get something. And this is this practice of this radiating light of engaging in doing this practice. It is a total devotion to one thing. It is this to shine the light on one corner, to this total devotion. So this character or the word that you're writing, or if you're doing the kanji, the character that you're writing, it flows through your pen. The sutra itself flows through your pen and into your body and then flows back out again. It's like a circular kind of perpetual Dharma wheel, if you will, that you are enacting, that you're turning this Dharma wheel. It's like an endless loop of a Dharma wheel turning. Suzuki Roshi mentions this in a talk that he gave. He said, in the Lotus Sutra, Buddha said to light up just one corner, not the whole of all the world. Just to light this one corner is to make clear just where you are, just this moment where you are. He said, Ichigu wo terasu. So Ichigu is one corner. Terasu is to light up or to shine on one corner. This is a very valuable point, important point in our practice. He says, this is a very valuable point. This point of really fully engaging, paying attention to whatever it is that you're doing with a practice mind. That is to shine one corner. We're not trying to change the whole world, but in our teaching, we do change the whole world. But we have to pretty much take that on faith, I think, because everything's interconnected, everything's functioning together. So what we do does make a difference, even though we can't immediately see the results. So the sutra copying is like lighting up one corner. So, so we come to sutra copying with gratitude and generosity, and we recall that this is not about the self, that this activity is not about the self, which means in this context that we make our best judgment without judging what we think is the quality of our ability to do it. So we don't look at our handwriting and say, oh, I don't print very well or whatever it is. That's not what this is about. It's not about some kind of preconceived idea about we have. So it's about not about the self. It's about dropping the self, forgetting the self, and just being present with that sutra, with that copying, with the pen, with our hand, with the people who are there with us, with all of the universe, and with the Dharma. So just make your best sincere effort and do not judge the results of this practice. Concentrate on each letter and each word. So then we become like people who are entering water. When you enter the water, you don't think about getting wet, you just get wet. When we enter the water, we just get wet when we enter the water. And so this is like the Dharma. The Dharma will permeate your mind, but you don't have to actively intellectualize about it. You will just get wet with the Dharma as you do this. No judgment, no striving in that way. So we start the practice by cleaning our hands, washing our hands, tidying up our workspace. We offer incense, we chant a little bit, we sit up straight, we take a few breaths to center ourselves, and then we begin to copy. And when the copying is over, we write, usually we do this for about an hour. It's kind of like the length of time most of us have to do this before people get tired or say, oh, my eyes are blurry, I can't do this anymore, whatever. So then we take the sutra here and you write on the bottom of the sutra. You can write your name and date if you want to, but you also write some kind of prayer of some kind of wish that you have. So it could be really simple, like, peace in the world. Or it could be something elaborate, like you might say, may the virtue of this sutra copying enable all beings to hear and benefit from the Dharma. So that might be something you might write on the bottom of this. So, and you make it up. It doesn't have to be some kind of formal thing. And it just is an expression of the sincerity that you have towards this practice and what you wish to give away the merit of this practice so that it benefits all beings and leads people to the Dharma. And the Dharma, doesn't have to be like this religion, Buddhism, something like that, but this openness and way that we can be with each other in this world that is efficacious. And then we come out here after you're finished and we light the altar and we incense the sutra copy, and then we put it on what I'm now calling the Kuan Yin altar, which is over there. And you'll see that there are some sutras that have been copied that are piled up over there. And we put them over there on that altar. So as we get here closing, I want to read again what Iwasaki Sensei said about this that I read at the beginning. I've edited this a little bit. He said, my purpose for copying the Heart Sutra is for you to see the teachings of the Buddha, to see the Buddha. I'm deeply grateful to dwell in the heart of the sutra. Also, contemporary people who have lost themselves in busyness and whose hearts are desolate, I pray they feel some succor and compassion when they look at these paintings or when we copy this sutra. So right now in the United States, I think a lot of us are feeling that America may have lost herself. A lot of us are feeling that we have forgotten how to live in community with each other. What we want to foster is that all of us can live in community with each other and thrive, that all people can thrive. So you might feel disappointed, you might feel depressed, you might feel hopeless, or you might feel energized. You might feel like it's time to make good trouble, as John Lewis said. Or both of these states simultaneously may be happening for you. You're going back and forth from one to the other, depending on what's on the news, But if you're feeling unsettled by what's going on in our country right now, and you're feeling unsettled by the news, as I think many of us are, I encourage you to engage in a practice like sutra copying. It's good to concentrate on something that is efficacious. It's good to calm our minds. It's good to pay attention in this way and let the Dharma flow through and into us. So as we make this effort, I think we are going to enact for ourselves this deep wish that Iwasaki Sensei and all the Buddhas and ancestors have, that we feel peace, that we find equanimity, that we cultivate generosity and compassion, and that we're able to alleviate our suffering by practices like copying a sutra. So we find this deeper peace as we ground ourselves in the Dharma. And through that deeper peace comes equanimity. It becomes a practice that alleviates the suffering of ourselves as well as others, because as we alleviate our own suffering, then we're able to relate to other people in a way that has equanimity and generosity and embodies the Dharma. So, thank you very much. I hope that this encourages you to perhaps come to the Zendo and do a little sutra copying. Thank you very much.